Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our lesson today. This is lesson 8.6, the X factor and or diamond factoring. I'm just going to pick it up from the first page in your notes if you're following along with us. So, factoring quadratic trinomials. A quadratic equation is any type of an equation that has an exponent of 2 as its highest exponent. So the degree of all quadratic equations is 2. Now, when the coefficient or the number in front of the first term is understood to be a 1, the equation will be in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. So the old-fashioned way of factoring something like x squared plus 7x plus 10 would be to do this. You ask yourself a couple of questions. What are all the factors of positive 10? And you would write them out. 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. Then you have to see which pair of factors fits the following two questions. Does it multiply to 10 and at the same time do the two factors also add to equal the middle term of 7? Well, 1 times 10 is 10, but if you were to add them, they would equal 11. 11 does not equal 7, so that first pair of factors is not a good fit. However, 2 times 5 equals the third term of 10, and at the same time, 2 plus 5 adds to 7. So basically, it's kind of like memorizing a set of rules, writing a lot of things down, and going through a process. And that's why I'm going to skip right ahead to going ahead and factoring by using the X factor or diamond factoring. So if you go to the typed notes in front of you, that was an insert for you. Now in your notes, the corrections have already been made, so let me go ahead and make them in my notes as well as we follow along. So all of these examples, the first term should be x squared. All right, here we go. So we want to factor x squared plus 5x plus 6. Again, the x factor is a very simple method to factor trinomials whose lead coefficient is understood to be 1, or even if they have a coefficient greater than 1. Okay? Please refer again. There's another page to this handout. It's called Diamond Factoring, and I got you some the best information I could. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw an x. And I believe that's already done for you in your notes. Now you're going to place the constant, which in most terms is going to be your third term. So we're looking for the number that does not have an x associated with it. So he's going to go on top of the x. The middle term is going to be, in this case, 5x. We're going to place a 5 on the bottom of the x. And basically this is what we're doing. We're asking ourselves this question. What multiplies to 6 and adds to 5? And I think you all know. So if you know, raise your hand and shout it out. What multiplies to 6 and adds to 5? 2 times 3. So we put a 2 here and a 3 here. Miss Arcel, I want to put the 3 on the left and the 2 on the right. Be blessed, you can do that. So here we go. Check our work. 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Does that make sense? Now ask yourself what two numbers multiply to equal the third term, what multiplies to 6, and here's the key, guys, at the same time, add to 5. Your answer, guys, is written as x plus 2 times x plus 3. If we come in tomorrow and somebody went x plus 3 times x plus 2, they are both correct. Okay, so the numbers that multiply to the third term and at the same time add to the middle term go in the sides of the x's, and you can check your work very, very carefully. Question, yes?
How did you get the two numbers on the side? So 2 and 3.
How did we get the two numbers on the side? We asked ourselves this question. What two numbers multiply to equal the third term, 6, and at the same time add to equal the middle term? So we put the 6 on the top, the 5 on the bottom. What multiplies to 6 and adds to 5? The only way you're going to get it is to try one. So here we go. Next example. X squared minus 10x plus 25. It's really important, guys. You have to take the sign with you. So what's my third term, or what's my constant? What's the constant? 25. Where's he go? Top or bottom of the X? Good job. Okay. And what's my middle term there? Negative 10. You have to take the sign with you. So listen to what you're asking your brain right now. Okay, so let me just be real specific. This is what I'm looking for in the work. I am looking for an X. I am looking for the numbers in the right places and the final answer. If you do more than that, or if you have to do more than that, that's fine. But that's the minimum of what I'm looking for. And I am going to collect your homework from last night, by the way. Sorry. Okay, so what multiplies to 25 and adds to negative 10? Think of, you guys are amazing. Negative 5 and negative 5. So your answer would be x minus 5 times x minus 5, or x minus 5 quantity squared. Does that make sense? Yes? Are you sure? Okay, let's try a couple. Let's try a couple of easy ones. Here we go. You try. X squared plus 4x plus 3. M squared plus 12m plus 32. X squared minus 22x plus 121. Guten Morgen. All right, so basically what we're asking ourselves, we are in lesson 8.6. We are doing X factoring. Can someone show him what page in the notes he should open to? All right, so what we're going to ask ourselves is what multiplies to what, guys, in the first one? What multiplies to?
3.
And at the same time adds to? 4. In the second one, we're asking ourselves what multiplies to? 32, and at the same time adds to? And in the last one, we're asking ourselves what multiplies to 121 and at the same time adds to. Good job. So go ahead and fill those in and write your final answer. It should be factors in parentheses. And for the people that just came in late because of late buses, I'll be really happy to explain it again. Just give me a minute. Make sure you use the correct variable. They're not all x's. Make sure you take your signs as well. Shh, I'm recording, please. Okay, so one more time. The X factor revolutionized the way I taught factoring years ago. The X factor says this: to factor a trinomial where the coefficient of the first term is understood to be 1, like in x squared plus 4x plus 3, what you do is you draw an x. After you draw your x, the constant, or the third term most likely, the term that does not have a variable associated with it, goes on the top of the x. The middle term that has the x term goes on the bottom. You're placing only the coefficients there. Then you ask yourself this question. What multiplies to 3 and at the same time adds to 4? So if you have to, switch your brain on for a minute, what are the only factors of 3? 1 times 3. Does 1 times 3 equal 3, class? Yes. Does 1 plus 3 equal 4? Yes. So the factors would be, it would look like this. X plus 1 times x plus 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. If you were to go back, this is your answer, guys, right here. However, if you were to go back to check to see if you factored it completely, if you were to go back and FOIL it, you would get x squared plus 4x plus 3. Are you with me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at the second one. What'd you guys, somebody get for m squared plus 12m plus 32 when you factored it? What did you get?
More than the x, or less?
Final answer.
M plus 8 times m plus 8.
M plus 8 times m plus 4. And the last one right here, Justin, what did you get? X squared minus 22x plus 121.
X minus 11 times x minus 11.
Or x minus 11 quantity squared. Does anybody have a question before I move on to another example? Are you sure? Yes? Why is it negative 11? Because it has to multiply to a negative 22. So negative 11 times negative 11 is 121. However, negative 11 plus negative 11 is negative 22. If you put a positive 11, that would have been a plus 22x. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Here we go. Next example. Example 3. What multiplies to negative 12 and at the same time adds to negative 4? So you have to use your brain here, and we have to think about positives and negatives. So x squared minus 4x minus 12. Okay, so if you get stuck, just go over here and list the factors of negative 12. Okay? Negative 1 and 12, 1 and negative 12. 2 and negative 6, negative 2 and 6. 3 and negative 4, negative 3 and 4. Are there any others besides that? Did I get them all?
Yeah.
Now look at your list of factors and ask yourself this question. Which set of these 6 factors satisfies this problem? It multiplies to negative 12. Well, let me just go on record as saying, obviously, they all multiply to negative 12. But at the same time, adds to negative 4. So what is it? Yes? 2 negative 6 for the win. And you could write it as x plus 2 times x minus 6. Or, of course, x minus 6 times x plus 2. Are we good? Yes? Okay, next one. X squared plus 8x minus 9. What multiplies to a negative 9, but at the same time adds to a positive 8? So if you get stuck again, just come on over here and list all the factors of negative 9. Everybody look and listen. People listening online, you have to take both of these into consideration. Negative 1 times 9, 1 times negative 9. Yes? 3 times negative 3. That's it. So it has to multiply to negative 9. Do all 3 sets add multiply to negative 9? Which set not only multiplies to negative 9, but also adds to positive 8? Yes? Negative 1, 9. And now you can check your answer. Guys, watch me. You can check your answer right here in the X. Okay, so negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. Negative 1 plus 9 is 8. Okay? So the final answer would be x minus 1, x plus 9, or x plus 9 times x minus 1. Does anybody have a question? Hello? Okay. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure. All right, I want to teach you what happens if the coefficient of the first term is greater than 1. Okay? So let's move on. Examples. So we're going to do an example where the coefficient of the first term is greater than 1. Okay? So let's go ahead and try this. 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. I want to go on record as making a comment. Please listen to me. This is extremely important. If there are no factors, if you can't find something that multiplies to the third term and at the same time adds to the middle term, then your polynomial, or in this case your quadratic equation, has no solution. And instead of writing no solution, we use a fancy word. We say prime. It's prime because it has nothing in common. Are you with me? So that's really important. And if you flip back to your notes, and so let me just take you right where I'm going to get this next example from. So if you go ahead and flip to the first section in your notes and go to the second page where it says factoring quadratic trinomials, where we have a coefficient greater than 1, so it's going to be this, ax squared plus bx plus c. So what we're talking about here is the number now in front of the first term is greater than 1, okay? To factor a trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, we're finding two integers whose product is equal to a times c and whose sum is equal to b. If there are no integers that satisfy this requirement, it is said to be a prime polynomial. But I really want to make your life a little bit easier because I'm still going to teach you this by the x factor. Are you with me? I just wanted you to see where it was in writing that if there was no solution, it is said to be prime. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and do that problem right here for you guys. So we want to factor 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. Okay, we're going to draw our x. Okay, are you with me? Now, because the coefficient of the first term is greater than 1, these are the steps. You multiply the coefficient of the first times the third. Let's get rid of the x, not to confuse anybody. Okay, so you're going to multiply. So 2 times 18 is what, guys? 36. So you're going to put the 36 up here. What multiplies to equal 36 and at the same time adds to equal what? 15. Okay, so let's think of all of the factors of 36. Now they're both positive, okay? So you can have 1 and 36, you can have 2 and 18, you can have 3 and 12, you can use your calculators, you can have 4 and 9, and you can have 6 and 6. Which pair of factors not only multiplies to 36, but at the same time equals 15? Nicholas? 3 times 12. So the 3 and the 12 would go here. Are you with me? Okay. So now, your answer, guys, look at me and listen. Hello. Your answer is not x plus 3 times x plus 12. Let me prove to you why it's not. Because there's another step we have to go ahead and insert. Okay, so what we need to do now is, okay, we found the factors. Now we are going to split the middle term, and we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to force this thing to go from 3 terms to 4 terms. We're going to force it to go from 3 terms to 4 terms. So it's going to look like this. 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. Can everybody tell me what's the middle term? The middle term is what? 15x. 15x is going to be split or rewritten using the 2 factors that are on the side of the x. What are the 2 factors there, guys? 3 and 12. So this becomes 2x squared plus 3x plus 12x plus 18. Can someone just look at this and tell me, do 3x and 12x, when you add them, do they give you 15x? Have I changed the value of the original polynomial at all? No, I have not. I know some of you are looking funny at me, so I'm going to step back here. Okay, to factor a polynomial where the coefficient of the first term is greater than 1, you multiply the coefficient of the first term times the third. So 2 times 18, 36 goes on top of the x. The middle term, what multiplies to 36 and adds to 15? We listed all of our factors. Some of you won't need to do that. You'll know it right off the bat. Check your work. Does 3 times 12 equal 36? Does 3 plus 12 equal 15? Yes, it does. So now we're ready to split the middle term of the original expression and factor by grouping. That's how I got 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. We split it into 3x plus 12x. Miss Urso, I want to put 12x here and 3x here. You can. It's not gonna mess anything up. Yes. I'm going there next. Just one step ahead of me. Now we're ready to go ahead and factor by grouping, just like we did in last night's homework. So now you have to find the GCF, draw your little skeletons, and we're ready to roll. 2x squared and 3x. What's the only thing they have in common, class? X. X times 2x plus 3. 12x and 18, what do they have in common? 6 times 2x plus 3. Do you all see that there is one factor that repeats? Yes, what's the repeating factor? 2x plus 3. What's my other factor? X plus 6. Who can tell me how to write the final answer, please? Thank you. Outstanding. Good job. Okay? Are you with me? Okay, it's a process. But let's go ahead and take a look at something from your homework for tonight. Who's got my homework packet? Thank you. Sorry. So let's do 2 of your homework problems real quick together. Did I give you, what, 1 through 21? Okay. So let's go ahead and do, first of all, if everybody looks at the homework packet, everybody go ahead and do number 13 in your homework. So I want to do one more of these. 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So everybody go ahead and try that. For those of you that were listening online today, we just thank you so much for listening to us. We hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And please feel free to go back over this lesson. Again, the X factor and diamond factoring will change the way that you handle factoring trinomials forever.